And I think that there are a lot of people out there, particularly women, who may have that same feeling. Because if you've spent most of your life taking care of a husband, working for a boss, raising children, helping out with grandchildren, you know all about taking care of other people and making your needs secondary or ignoring them altogether. I don't do that now. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Silver and Sensational. I am Lois, as in Lois Mills, the I. Today I'm going to really tell you why I have chosen to be alone. Pull up a chair and listen to this saga. As many of you who have followed me already know, I've been married 2.5 times. I have done my share of dating, but I don't do that anymore. There's several reasons, but let me start with I don't date because I really don't want someone in my life. Now that's pretty cut and dry, but let me explain why.
As usual, you will have no logical explanation for doing it the way you're doing it.
In a nutshell, I have become so accustomed to not compromising for someone else in my life that I really don't want to think about doing that anymore. For all of you out there that want somebody special in your life, I say God bless.
Et Filius, et Spiritus Sanctus.
Go ahead, pursue, good luck, and live happily ever after. But my happily ever after is really not being in a one-on-one relationship. I've been there, done that. I've tried dating sites, and they're simply not for me. I find that for too many people, it's a lot of BS. Everybody's trying too hard. I recall going through the pictures. If I saw a guy with his kids, swipe. If I saw a guy with his arm around a woman, swipe. I wonder, where are your brains? But at any rate, I have to admit, I didn't have enough of a desire to pursue it. I've been alone most of my life, starting from early childhood when I was a latchkey kid. And even though I had a sibling who's now passed, there was a 7-year difference. He had his life, I had my life, and there wasn't any playing between the two of us. So it was really alone. When I married, being that I'm not the greatest judge in the world, I married men who didn't seem to want the same kind of relationship that I wanted, whether one wanted to go out and party all the time and the other one just wanted to work all the time. In those marriages, I was not only alone, I was also lonely. And for any of you out there that have been in relationships where you're living together and you feel lonely, believe me, that's a loneliness that is 10 times worse than being in no relationship and feeling lonely. Because when you're in that relationship and the person sleeping on the other side of the bed is practically a stranger to you because you don't really have a connection, a soul connection, that's really the epitome of loneliness. I'm not going to get into what is currently being bantered about in all the media about the loneliness epidemic, but I will talk about why I have chosen to be alone. So I told you, I really don't want to compromise. I don't want to compromise on what we're having for dinner. I don't want to have to think about another person's needs. For those of you who are going to jump on the fact that I'm selfish, let me tell you that I spent the better part of my life being concerned about other people's needs and taking care of those, so that for the last 10 years, I really do feel that it's my time. And I think that there are a lot of people out there, particularly women, who may have that same feeling. because if you've spent most of your life taking care of a husband, working for a boss, raising children, helping out with grandchildren, you know all about taking care of other people and making your needs secondary or ignoring them altogether. I don't do that now. And I like my life the way it is. I also look at the practicalities of things. Well, ageism is very apparent on the part, particularly of men. It's whether it's on a dating site or if you meet someone organically or if you're fixed up by friends. You know, if a friend tries to fix you up with some person they know, the first thing out of their mouth is going to be, how old? And everybody has their criteria. You know, some men 40, 50, 60, whatever it is.
Let's meet your second wife. Brian,
Age plays a big role. And you know what? I apply the same thing. After having been in 2 long-term relationships with men that were substantially older than me, I decided, even after the first one, I said, no more. I want someone who knows the music that I know. And then I ended up with someone that was even older than the one I had been with before.
Surprise, motherfucker.
That taught me enough. And as I have aged, you know, men my age, who even if I were interested, it's too risky. I really don't want to be a nurse to someone that I have no history with. And I feel that for many men, they're looking for either someone to have just sex with or someone who's going to take care of them. Well, since I don't want to take care of them, and I have to say my experience with older men in the sex department hasn't been all that successful. I did have a relationship with someone much younger than me. And basically, what was that for? It was for sex. Well, certainly wasn't because we had so much in common. At this stage, I love what I am doing, which is finding people that I have a good time with and reaching out to see if I can meet new people. And of course, what I have always had most success with are my pets. Now, call me, I did have a cat, so I guess you could call me that single cat lady. But I have, for the last 25 years, been the single dog lady. And before I leave you, I want to tell you a story that is close to my heart. So many, many years ago, when I moved from Chicago to Palm Beach, Florida, I moved there without knowing anyone, and I was really feeling a sense of loneliness. I had no real connections. Actually, I had no connections there. And it was a different time in my life, and I felt I really wanted to meet someone. I wanted someone in my life who would love me. So at that time, I was very into the metaphysical, and I was in this bookstore, metaphysical bookstore, and I saw a copy on the counter of a book titled How to Cast Spells. Now I was thumbing through, and I saw How to Cast a Spell for Love. For all of you who don't believe in this kind of stuff, bring the volume down. Whoa. But I suggest you keep it up because this is really a sweet story. And so the lady at the counter said, "What does it say?" And I said, "It says I need a piece of rose quartz, and I need pink rose petals, and I need white candles." And she said, "Well, we have rose quartz here, and I went over to the basket and I picked one. I just didn't even look, put my hand in, but could feel it was heart-shaped. And I said, this is perfect. Of course, this is the way it should be. So I had this, and she said, I'm going to go next door for you and get some rose petals, because they just let them sit on the floor until the end of the day, and I'll just scoop some up and put them in a bag for you. I said, okay, fine. And went home. I had white candles, but then I saw that I couldn't cast this spell. It was the wrong time of the month as far as the moon was concerned. The other reason I couldn't do it is before I cast a spell for love, I had to cast a spell to cleanse my heart of any hurt. And this required sage and green candles. So I went ahead and I did this cleanse so my heart could be opened for new love to come in. But 6-7 days later, it was time to do the casting of the spell for love. So I had this little bench and I set all the paraphernalia out and I was holding tight onto this. Think about it. This rose quartz heart in my hand. And so I was kneeling in front of this little piecemeal altar and I went into meditative state, and there I was at the very end saying, just please send someone into my life who will love me. I no sooner said those words when my phone rang. And I thought, oh my God, no. And you know, if those of you who meditate, you know you get into that state where you're a little groggy coming out of it. And I got myself up off the floor and picked up the phone, and there was a friend from Los Angeles saying to me, your friend Bruce just left and he said I should call you. There's a Jack Russell. I said, just stop right there. Stop right there. I've got to call you back. I have to call you back.
Oh, hell no!
I got so shaken. I looked up to the ceiling and said, well, I guess I have to be more specific in asking for 2 legs instead of 4. There I was. I knew, listen, you just asked the universe for something within microseconds, nanoseconds rather. You got the answer. You're being given a gift of love, the kind of love you really can't get from 2 human beings, and you can't walk away from this. So I called John back. And I said, you'll need to send me some photographs. He said, done. FedEx has already picked up the envelope. It's going to be delivered to you by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And there you have the love of my life, which was Jackie 1, the most adorable Jack Russell puppy at the time, who was just the most extraordinary dog any person could ever ask for, who gave me more love than any human being had ever given me. And now I have Jackie 2 because another friend just kind of stood her ground and found the perfect dog for me whose name was already Jackie. So when I was told, well, Jackie is 4.5 years old, I said, fine, let me know when I can get her. Because as soon as I heard that this dog's name is the same as Jackie 1, I knew it was another one of those situations that I couldn't walk away from. So, on that note, I hope you enjoyed my little story of how I got love when I asked the universe for it. Again, as I mentioned before, if you really want somebody in your life, I salute you. I'm not one of them. In the meantime, for all of you out there that don't know my routine, I want you to go down into the description box and see the link that clicks right onto my blog. And from there, I want you to subscribe if you haven't already. And for those of you who are not familiar with subscriptions, it just helps us. No one's going to bother you. No one collects your your email or any other information you might have, and then go ahead and share me with your friends and family and all your contacts if you have the patience. Do click the like button and press the notification bell so you know when another episode drops. And it's usually midnight Central Time on Friday mornings. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed today. Again, thank you for tuning in. Be well, God bless, and I'll see you soon. Bye now.